Hello, welcome back to the FeedPod. How are we? I'm really happy to welcome our next guest onto the FeedPod today, and it's Paul Burns from CORE Fulfilment in Crewe. It's an interesting backstory about how me and Paul met, and it's a little bit of LinkedIn, and it's a little bit of Paul reaching out for certain reasons, which we're about to jump into, which has now led to us doing work together, to us being in the magazine, us shooting some stuff for him on site, and lots more stuff to come as well. So an interesting story to tell, and we are happy to welcome Paul Burns.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the FeedPod.
Cheers.
Straight into it, the how we met story, before we touch on who CORE Fulfilment are and your backstory. I think it was a LinkedIn message that I put out, which is going to be slightly awkward saying this to everybody, but at the back end of a year where I'd turned a job down, was trying to set up on my own, I posted on LinkedIn, "We'll do anything for free."
I think I remember it.
And I think you jumped on it and said, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Obviously, with your experience, what are you offering for free?
Yeah, well, as a joke, free things are right up my street, to be perfectly
My
honest.
mum wouldn't be happy with that, but yeah. And to know what, I think that's what it was. And then there was some, I think did you have a sales manager role maybe?
I think we were looking to take on our first salesperson, really, that wasn't me.
Yeah.
And I think we had a bit of a chat, but I can't remember if it was before COVID or after COVID, and it just kind of fizzled out somehow.
Yeah,
I
think if I remember rightly, it was after I'd finished sales director role in Manchester. I'd done a bit of stuff, and I'm like, I need something. I think it was coming to the back end of the year, maybe, and we talked about potentially working together.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So everyone's going to be looking at this now and going, what's CORE Fulfilment? Who's Paul Burns? So let's jump straight into it. Who are CORE Fulfilment? Tell us the story, the partnership, where you've come from, how we've got to where we are today.
Yeah, sure. So CORE Fulfilment is a direct-to-consumer fulfillment business. So basically, if you're a brand that sells online, could be anything, pet food, fashion, gifts, anything like that, and you get to a point, or you don't want to have all the infrastructure like warehousing, leases, relationships with all the carriers, all the staff that go with it.
I was just about to say staff,
all that stuff. And I suppose my argument would be, since it's what we do, is that nobody starts a fashion business really to think,
I need a warehouse.
I want a warehouse, I want to have 20 staff. They start it because they want to make clothes and they want to sell them and they want people to buy them.
Yeah.
And I think, as much as I think there's real value doing it yourself for a while to understand it, I think once you outsource it and you find the right partner, I think you get the gift of time back then to really sort of grow your business. That's what I would hope anyway.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that if you have a fulfillment partner like us that generally does a good job, you shouldn't have to worry about us doing our bit and you can focus on.
There's a nice tagline in there for CORE Fulfilment.
Well, I hope so,
the gift of time.
The gift of time,
Yeah, I like it.
Not a fulfillment company, a time machine.
And then touching on that as well, that's a really good point about the staff and internally. Who's the team behind CORE? How many people are there? Obviously, you and your business partner. And
yeah, so we've got, I think with agency staff, we've got about between 70 and 80 at the minute. It all kind of started. So Jeremy and I took the business over probably about 12 years ago now. And we
is that how long it had? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. I thought I'd have made it by now, but we'll keep going. So
you will after this, but you have made it.
Well, you're still here. So about prior to that, Jeremy and I worked for the previous owners of the business, and it'd been a successful business that kind of fell into e-com fulfillment right at the start.
Right. Okay.
So one of the guys that started it up used to work for Disney.
Right.
And somehow, speaking to a former colleague, they were talking about opening their first online store. This is probably in the early 2000s when nobody really had them.
Wow.
And he said, we could do that for you. And it was really small, probably started in a room about 10 times bigger than this room with a few products. And then I think we worked with them for about 10 or 12 years. It just grew and became a bit of a monster, really. You know, it really took off and the business was successful. But what had happened really is that had become like 85% of the entire business.
Yeah.
And
dangerous place to be.
It's a dangerous place to be. And to be fair to them, they'd always said, look, when this gets to a certain size, we will do it ourselves. They already had warehousing infrastructure in the UK to feed this sort of high street stores. So we knew it would come one day, but it was always going to have a big impact. So they left, and then we had a couple of we sort of muddled on for a few years, I suppose, and got by. And then another big contract of ours actually cancelled a project right at the last minute.
Jeez.
And that was a bit like, we're in a bit of dire straits now.
Yeah.
And that resulted really in the change of tack then. You know, sort of Jeremy and I, we'd had a bit of a chat, and we felt there was a real opportunity for SMEs, really, for us to go after. The guys had previously worked with some big sort of blue chip clients.
Yeah.
But I just found that I thought they take a really long time to make a
To
decision.
convert, yeah.
Really, and we didn't have time. And so I suppose it was just when we got going, sort of Shopify was just becoming really mainstream. So people could actually build their own store in a weekend, and the cost of starting up was low. And I think we just felt that there was about to be a bit of an explosion in that market, really.
You're not wrong,
yeah. The Shopify had insanely grown since then. And so Jeremy and I, we went to the two owners and said, look, we want to do something a little bit different. We're in a really bad place. We'd really love to keep the guys. We probably had about, at that point, maybe 12 staff, something like that. We really want to keep them in a job. I wanted to keep my job.
Yeah.
And said, look, we've found some investment elsewhere. And they were, look, it wasn't easy, but they were really supportive of us taking it in a bit of a direction. And actually, still, I played golf with one of the former owners last night. You know, we see each other most Thursdays. So
nice.
What was tough ended up working out pretty well. I suppose we kept our friendships anyway.
Good. That's important and a rare place to be at times as well. Yeah. Something that I wanted to touch on with that, where you talked about the explosion and SME sort of certainly being your sniper target when you and Jeremy were looking at it. What is it that Core Fulfilment do that can be considered a niche? Where, and you've mentioned giving back the gift of time, but where is it where we position, or you position ourselves, I should say? Where do you position yourselves in terms of that's what we can offer you? So if you were elevator pitching a client now, whoever it might be, fashion, dog food, fitness brand, I think you work with, don't you? If you're looking down the lens and going, right, we want to work with you, what does CORE do that others don't maybe?
So I think I always find it really difficult when someone says, what's your sort of USP?
I know, yeah. Do you know what? I hate it. I fucking wish I had said that.
I feel I should know what it is by now. But I think what we really wanted to do, we felt that businesses of our size attract other businesses of a certain size, I think. And we felt that there was, when we first got going, in fact, it was probably not when we first got going, it was when we moved to Crewe, we fortuitously ended up opposite a carrier depot. And I'd always had this thing that I wanted to offer really late cut-offs.
I remember you saying this.
Yeah, so like most people do their online shopping between like 7 and 9 at night. Call it, I think somebody coined it as the Chardonnay hour.
Right.
So people sit down, have a glass of wine, they get their phone out after the kids have gone to bed, and they'll shop online then. And a lot of small businesses had really average cut-off times. And so we introduced a 10 p.m. cut-off. So almost a business of any size could access a level of service that was better than, you know, even places like John Lewis. Still, when we offer an 8 p.m. cut-off. And
is that for next day then?
Yeah.
So obviously,
up till 10 p.m. If you're on a Shopify store, you can get it delivered the next day, and that's
Amazing.
Saturdays as well. Yeah.
Wow.
And my wife shops on ASOS all the time. And she'll say to me, "All right," and she'll go, "Do you know I only ordered that last night at 9 o'clock?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do that.
Yeah.
We that's what
do you know
we
that
do.
is that is what I do for a living. Yeah.
So that's our big thing, and I think the theory behind that, it's not just being able to offer it. I really believe that the quicker you get an order into the customer's hands, the better experience they've had, the less likely you are to get sort of erroneous communication from them saying, "Oh, I just thought I'd check where my parcel is." You know, the quicker you can get it to them, the better. And also, I think for a lot of growing brands, they might not make money to the second or third order. You know, the cost of acquisition is really high on that first order.
Yeah.
So making sure that experience is really slick.
Almost out of the box experience. So I don't know. That's obviously with phones and all that when you buy tech, but it's the same sort of discipline.
Yeah, and they're even though they're small, they're still competing against these big guys whose service is right up there. So I think you can give them a little bit of an edge. Yeah. I think that's where I would say we're a wee bit different.
It's almost taken for granted as well, isn't it? That kind of being able to shop up until 10 o'clock and have it delivered the next day. Like there's lots of mechanisms, there's lots of work that has to go on.
Absolutely.
Could be anywhere in the country or certainly within a certain distance from you. To get it in your hands the next day, there's a massive piece of work that needs to be done.
The infrastructure is incredible, really. And a lot of it's partly luck on your location. Are you close enough to a big hub? Or are we close enough to a big hub? That type thing to get it to happen. But yeah, there's a lot goes on for it, you know. And I think for us to be able to offer that, you have to really sort of put your money where your mouth is, really, because if somebody places an order at 9:58 and your guys go out looking for the product and they can't find it, they've paid a premium, might be their first time shopping.
Yeah.
and then they're expecting it the next day. We have to tell our customer to go, oh, we can't find it, it's not gone.
Yeah.
They'll probably never shop with them again.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's, like I say, it's putting your money where your mouth is, really.
Those statistics are really interesting. A good point with that, obviously, the course of the years of the 12 years and the changes that you've seen and the change of strategic attack from yourself and Jeremy in terms of SMEs. I'd be really keen to dig into like the lessons that you've learned over the course of that period of time.
Said you wanted to keep it
We've only
short.
got 10 minutes. Yeah, no, I'm only joking. No, but something that's maybe a key standout with the last edition of the feedback being learned and just leaning into that ever so slightly. What are some things that you think, Christ almighty, if I just wish I'd learned that a little bit earlier, or what's something that you think, Christ, I'm glad I did learn that when I did, maybe.
Yeah, well, there's lots. I mean, I think I tend to only learn by making mistakes,
Yeah,
sadly.
as I tend, we all pretty much do, yeah.
So I think at first, when we first took over the business, we wanted to sort of prove the model to ourselves and to the guys that had invested in the business. And we said yes to everything.
Yeah, oh God.
And
isn't that such a trend for all of us? It's like in the early days, just with me and Rich just had the same conversation I have with everyone that's been on the pod. The yes early on to anything. Can you do that cheaper? Yep. Yeah. Can you do that? Yep.
anything to get bills being paid and
Can
stuff
you pay
like
this
that,
invoice for me if that's all right?
And
Yeah.
I think it's almost for your own sanity as well. You just want to think, oh, what
Busy
what I've
fool
got-
almost,
yeah,
isn't it? Yeah,
what
exactly.
I've got is worth somebody paying for, and you
Yeah.
convince yourself. So definitely not saying yes to everything, and really making sure that the type of product for us, the type of product that we would be handling, is suitable for our own.
Ah, right. Okay, that's
And,
interesting.
I've been doing this 12 years now, and I still made that mistake last year.
Right.
I convinced myself that actually this one will be all right,
Will be
even though
okay.
I'd done it before
Yeah.
and it hadn't been. And sadly, I've had to tell that customer, look, I've got this wrong.
Doesn't work,
It's
yeah.
not for us. So I think there's that. God, the other thing, what else have we learned over the years? I'm not a big believer in that the customer's always right.
Right, okay.
Necessarily. I think sometimes you can get. I should caveat this by saying that it's not any of my customers right now. They're obviously they are right. But sometimes you can get a customer that they'll put everything that's going wrong onto you. And while you might play a part in it, I think it's a far healthier place to be when something doesn't go right, that both parties sit down and go, what did we get wrong?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And I think from my side of things, from where we are in terms of a marketing agency, that's really, that's now never even come into my thought process. The customer's always right. Because we're kind of talking with people that are they aware or are they not aware? Yes, maybe aware of what they want, not aware of how to get it, not aware of the benefits of it a lot of the time. So the customer is always right. Probably doesn't even come into my thinking.
Yeah, well, and I think
it's something that more retail strikes me with that.
It probably is more that. But
Yeah,
it's
I want to
one of those-
return this. It's not very nice or whatever it might be.
It's one of those business cliches. Like, so if I give you an example.
Feels a bit old-fashioned now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does feel a bit old-fashioned,
Yeah.
yeah. I think if I give you an example, it would be, if, let's say, for example, we couldn't find an item of stock, which it rarely happens, but it does happen. I've had customers that might happen 1 in 10,000 orders, and they would go, that's completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
Whereas I think, actually, that's really quite acceptable.
Yeah.
That the expectation of perfection all is unattainable. And I think I've learned that over the years. If you've got somebody that's expecting it to be perfect, then it's going to be hard work.
Yeah, I like that. The perfection being unobtainable.
Yeah.
It's always nice to strive for it. And,
Absolutely, yeah.
And even the progression piece of going, that's perfect, but right now. It's perfect right now. Yeah. There's a good friend of mine that's in a position where within their business, they're trying to do certain things and holding off doing it until it's perfect. It'll never be perfect.
It'll never happen.
There isn't such thing as perfect. It's good right now, and it's the best it is right now.
Yeah.
But you'll still get better, and you'll still get better, and you'll still get better.
Yeah.
That's where we were when I look back at some of the stuff that we did 5 years ago in terms of content. It makes my toes curl. Yeah. But
you were doing it.
Yeah, and it was good right then. It was good for what we were doing right then, for what was needed. It was the level that we were at, and perfect, I suppose. Now where we're at is a million times more advanced and is perfect, but I'm sure someone will look at it as we do and go, that wasn't right.
Yeah.
So that's I really like that. Good. And do you know what? And a part of your business that I never knew about as well, although we have worked together closely over the last year or two, that's stuff that I didn't know. So interesting story behind where it came from if you were to look at it now, and you've touched on loads of businesses that you have worked with, currently work with, dog food, obviously, I know the guys because we met them a few weeks back, which is brilliant. What would you do if you had an industry that you felt that might need a shake-up? Is there something that you'd look at and go, we can help them, they would really benefit from core fulfillment? Or is there something that even let's go left of field and go, I think that's an absolute shambolic mess and they need to change the way they are? Trying to get you out of your comfort zone here, is it?
It might not quite be as much the case. I've always had, I play a lot of golf.
Right.
And I feel that the golf industry is quite antiquated in its approach.
Yeah.
I think the reason behind that is a bit of a legacy one in terms of pro shops.
Yeah.
So probably, unless you're at a big fancy club, I think running a pro shop's a hard game. You know, golf members don't really part with the money all that easily. I don't think.
Okay. Although should really have a bit more of it.
You would think, maybe in the old days, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's been a real resistance from the big brands to sell direct to consumer online.
Right.
And all that's done, in my opinion, has allowed a couple of the big major retailers like American Golf and stuff to just own that marketplace.
Right.
Really.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's a lot of disruptor brands coming into golf now that are smaller, more fashion, but you're seeing it in clubs. And I still think the big golf brands are really missing a trick. Like, I think ideally they would think that somebody would go, I'm going to get a new set of clubs, and they might go and get fitted, and they might go and see the pro, whatever it is. But I've been playing golf for 30 years and I've never done that. I see somebody using them, I'm like, I'm going to get a set of them clubs.
Yeah.
And then maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
But certainly other things like balls and the apparel and stuff like that, they've never really embraced it direct to consumer.
Yeah, it is all, that's right.
And I'm a big believer, especially for those brands where I think you get a lot of loyalty from a golfer with a brand. I think you're missing out in interacting directly with the user of the product. You know, that's one of the things that we talk to some of our customers about, in particular the pet food guys. Like in the old days, the only place they would buy that pet food was from like a supermarket or a pet shop.
Yeah.
So you actually never heard from them. Now they've got people leaving reviews on their Trustpilot and their website, emailing them in to tell them the dog
socials are
loved this.
brilliant. Yeah.
So you're actually getting first-hand feedback from not from the user and the dog. It's not the dog. but
feed
from
being the
buyer.
operative word. Yeah.
And I still feel, I've not looked at it so much recently, but I still feel that the golf brands are a bit distant from their.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Need Golf, Sophie and James, and I know we just mentioned them before we started there. That's something Sophie and James are really passionate about, that it should be for everyone. It should be more inclusive.
Yep.
Golf is for everyone. And that's how they build their business over at Need Golf, in that it's inclusive, everyone can come and use it. It's trying to break down that stigma of stuffy old men's club kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean...
maybe it is in need of a bit of modernisation.
Well, I think so.
I like that.
And you've got a lot of these... There's like on YouTube now, there's so many non-professionals creating great content for golf.
Right.
That there's... That hundreds of thousands of people are watching it as well.
Yeah.
You know, so it's changed a lot. You know, and some of these guys like Bryson DeChambeau, you know, he's a real sort of internet personality, and I sometimes don't think the brands that work with them push it enough.
Right. Okay. Brilliant. I like it. Is there something that you've seen or that you've come across, or that Core Fulfilment work with, that you feel are really smashing it? Is there? Obviously, we mentioned the dog food brand, who are great, and their socials are great. But is there a sector that you think, they've got it nailed at the moment? Fitness brand, maybe. Yeah,
or the fitness brand that we work with are really good. You know, it started by, I mean, he's still young now, but they joined us. I'm trying to think, maybe it was before COVID, 7 or 8 years ago, and they've probably five times bigger than they were. I think COVID, when everybody was off work buying new leggings. And stuff
I was
like
about
that.
to say buying fitness gear as well.
Yeah, but the way that they've grown and how we've seen the sort of product range grow and the quality of the product, you know, the chap that owns that is really obsessed with everything. And I would say he's one of our longer serving customers, one of our bigger customers, and actually one of the customers that I socialise most often with. But he gives us a hard time, right? But it's hard but fair.
Right.
And I always think when he challenges me in particular, it'll make the business
right.
better.
Okay, I like that.
But yeah, I think it's been a real partnership working
Yeah,
with them. I think
yeah.
you know it's like I say, in terms of challenging us to be better at what we do. And that's big. I think that's because they're a smaller business, and it's really, really personal to him.
I find that with the clothing industry and sports brands, I mean, everything I've got on is what would be considered an Instagram brand. I think, yeah, these are Capo, my trainers are Capo, that's on,
Yep.
all of which I've never tried on. I've seen it on a picture.
Yep.
I've bought it, that customer experience that you mentioned, both of which are, I think I order it and I get it next day. Capo certainly, I think it's by 7, and I get it out the next day, or maybe 8. Sorry, Adam, if it's 8.
Once you get that up to 10 o'clock.
Yeah. I'll drop it in. Those fashion brands, that Instagram shoppability, that customer relationship, all those things that you mentioned, that must be the UK growth sector. It must be.
I think so, especially this part of the UK as well, the Northwest. But I think there's a real change. If I think back to when I was young.
Oh, well, yeah, because you read the represent conversation and what have you, yeah.
Everybody wanted to wear the same things when I was young.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so like, I remember at school it was like kickers shoes.
Yeah,
Everybody wanted kickers, right?
Do you know what I saw the other day that someone brought back Reebok Classics? Do you have a pair of Reebok Classics?
Yeah, I had a pair of Reebok pumps.
Yeah. Oh, oh, God.
A long time ago now.
Yeah.
But I think now there's much more. People want more individuality. So when they see a brand like Arn or Capo coming up,
Yeah.
they're interested to try it. And I think because websites are so good now,
It feels a bit more personal, doesn't it?
Yeah, a bit more individual.
Yeah.
And you can get, you know, with technology that's available now, to get good photography years gone by, good quality like shots, you'd need all the kit in a studio. And Where actually now, I think even with phones, you can get.
Oh, yeah, definitely the content. Yeah, the turning around drops that obviously is referred to in the fashion industry. The turning around drops of new clothing in days because they're getting the gear landed from whatever manufacturer in Portugal or that most of them use. They're shooting it. It's on the site that night, and like you say, Shopify, the speed of which, right? Let's start delivering. Let's start getting that out. Yeah, definitely, I agree with that. And like I say, that explosion of brands. I mean, one of the big ones that the guys wear around here that are from around here, but all over the country, Milana Studios with Tara and Nikki, obviously Arn, Capo. There's millions more, and I've seen a bottle of aftershave there in the office. The aftershave game as well.
Yeah, that's sort of a bit of a copy of the real ones that are really expensive.
Oh yeah. The what do they call it? Dupes, inspired by.
Yeah,
inspired by. Yeah. That's an interesting sector. I'm not sure what the crack is with them or if they last or anything. But again, I'm sure I'll be told if that's not the case. Okay, good. So we touched on where Core have kind of come from, who we're dealing with now and where we're at. What's the future look like at the minute? What's the next 30, 60, 90 next year? What's in the pipeline for Core at the minute?
So I think we historically, our sort of model was bring more customers on, bring more customers on, bring more customers on. And I think that's quite hard work. And definitely at times in the past, I think sometimes, I don't think I know, we've brought customers on and that's had a detrimental effect on our existing customers.
Right, okay.
And
from level of service? Or,
yeah. So it would, the disruption of somebody else that isn't organised is then felt across our other 50 customers.
Right, okay.
And what ended up, we had a bit of a cycle of it, to be perfectly honest, where
the new client's not organised.
Well, it's maybe not even that they're not organised, but things happen like there's a storm and the ship gets delayed, for example, and then stuff that was supposed to arrive to us in October arrives in the middle of November, and we're in Black Friday season at that point.
Yeah.
And I nearly said, could you do anything different? You could have said no. I could have said, I'm not taking that stock, but that would have ruined that business.
Yeah.
They'd have gone, well, if you don't take in my Black Friday stock, and it's not their fault. They've ordered it in time.
Yeah.
It's just these things happen. And that disrupted other customers. Inevitably, what happens is you bring in a new one, you think, oh, that's going to be a big step forward for our business, and one drops out the bottom.
Yeah.
So I think over the last 3 or 4 years, we became quite obsessed with doing a really good job for all of our customers every day.
Yeah.
And then they don't leave.
Yeah, get your arms around the ones you've got.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And try and identify the ones that you think are going to grow quite aggressively, maybe at 20 to 50%, because then they're growing our business for us.
Yeah.
So I think the next 6 months to 12 months to 18 months for me really looks like finding, whereas previously that might have been 30 new customers, I would rather that was 6 really
Right,
good
I was
ones.
wondering what number
Yeah.
you were going to say there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny that mindset, because in the early days, again, we're going back to that saying yes to everything, and obviously when you're doing what I do and putting yourself out there, there's lots of inbound leads. There is anyway throughout the course of the time. There's everyone that wants it until they understand what it is and how much they have to pay for it. And I was obsessed with signing new clients, and was even posting pictures of me, big handshake, like let's announce a new client, which is cringeworthy now to look back at it. Absolutely curls my toes. And there's some locally that I did and that I signed, and even at the time I'm like, I don't particularly think that this is right.
Yeah.
But you're in that yes moment, and you're in that must sign new clients.
You've got to convince yourself it's the right thing.
Yeah, and then at the end of year 2, was it, or end of year 1, I was I kind of used the old sales director sort of role in it, and really did my funnel and my pipeline, and I was like, right, I'm going to cram the funnel full of everybody. I'm going to sign anyone that's anyone that's walking is signing up with us, and then it'll spit out who I want.
Yeah.
So I'll try and touch everyone, not that like that. I'll try and work with everyone and get a feel for who they are. Then the ones I like, I'll keep. The ones I don't, I'll drop. Now, rightly or wrongly, that was kind of my approach. Looking back on that now, as you've just said, grow the clients you've got, and your business will grow.
Yeah.
It's simple, right? Yeah, but not in the early days when you're just thinking,
No, it's
when
phases, aren't there? There's different phases to your business growth, I think. And it's just, and like we've said, the only way you get there is by learning by the mistakes that you've made.
Totally. That is a mistake on my part, definitely. Looking back, some of the people that I said I'd work with, some of the stuff I'd said I'd do. You get excited. It's the magpie effect, isn't it? Oh, what's that shiny new thing over there?
Yeah, I still get that now. Yeah, the Captain Chaos, everybody calls me at work.
Yeah,
because it's like, oh, here he comes.
What ideas he got now? What weird and wonderful ideas he got now? And to know what, where you're saying about 12 years in, obviously we're 5 with the feed, where we've restructured who we are. The feed groups is the name of the group, obviously, of the 4 pillars of our business. And this is where I elevator pitch this in every conversation I have now. The feed group, and there's 4 pillars that sit underneath that. A creative agency. We're a marketing agency that help you do your creative content. Feed Mag, a local magazine that we print 5,000 every quarter, freely distributed, and is literally becoming its own beast. A feed pod, we're sat right on it now, that we invite anyone that's in box 1 or 2, that's touched on 1 or 2, to come on to 3. And if you've been in 3, you get invited to our events. And we do your event for you, and we have our own.
Yeah.
That's who we are. And I've watched a podcast recently, a business podcast, and it said go an inch wide, go an inch wide, but a mile deep. And that's what I'm doing. Right. So I'm going an inch wide on 4 things and a mile deep.
And do you think to be good, so I suppose, are you predominantly a creative agency?
Yeah.
But to be really good at it, you need to do, you think to stand out, doing those 4 things separates you out?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you say, niche, day-to-day bread and butter, whatever you want to call it, is the creative agency. Yeah. The magazine, as you quite rightly know, and you've been a part of it, has grown arms and legs, and kind of the synergy between all 4 things is perfect because it happens anyway. It's kind of putting the name above each one of those and saying, this is what we do.
Has the magazine become a lead gen
source
for you?
Yeah, massively. Yeah, massively. Yeah. We're just signing up, or get my words out. We're just about to sign an agreement with a charity for next year to be a charity partner in it. And the guy's like, I can't stop seeing this magazine everywhere. Really? How do we work together? Yeah. And we're going to work with them, which will probably by the time this goes out, will be announced on certain things. And yeah, that's happening so much.
I think the events thing, I haven't made it to one of your events.
No,
yet,
you
sadly,
you haven't actually.
But I think that's a really powerful thing, because I think COVID stopped a lot of those sort of interactions now. And I probably used to go to London at least once a month to meet a potential client or something like that. It's near 99% of the time now it's Teams.
Yeah, and I hate it.
I'm not. It's fine, but
they almost feel rushed to me now. They feel rushed. They feel someone's probably got one straight after, or has just got off one as well.
Yep.
And they're sat there, and it's like, right, tell me quick, go on, then break down what you want. It lacks all touch point. It lacks all authenticity.
I
and
agree.
It's just
It's not the same as like sitting opposite somebody. And looking
I'm
in
done
the
with
eye.
them. Yeah, I'm done with them. But yeah, go on. Sorry. Yeah, in the events.
Yeah. So, and I think I used to go to more events, sort of like maybe like packaging and carrier events and stuff like that. But now a lot of them are online. Actually, you start to not have a contact at these places. You know, we talked about the PR agency.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that for years.
Yeah.
And then I seen it on your podcast, and I was like, our business is a lot more mature now than when we looked at PR the first time. Maybe that's the kind of thing I would do now. That would be quite far down my list as a business owner to get to. But if I was at one of your events, and I was
and
like,
you bumped into Ash and Jen,
and I'd be like, oh, I could get 10 minutes with them in a great environment where everyone's relaxed.
Yeah.
They're far more likely to convert me there and then.
Yeah, 100%.
Than I am at a show.
And that's exactly what happened at Cumbermere Abbey. And at the Need Feed Fest was this charity that I've just mentioned. He came up to me and said, just to let you know, I'm sure you know who the charity is, but can we get together? I really want to be a part of this. This is brilliant. The family festival that we put on. How do we work together? Likewise, Cumbermere Abbey was that room of people at Cumbermere with Jen and Ash from Moda, with Need Golf, with everybody that had kind of worked with us pretty much was there. And the amount of people that have spat out of that and gone, oh, by the way, I'm working, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, all part of it. I'm really reluctant to call them networking events because I hate networking, the word and the groups and the
it's
all
a bit
this
of an ecosystem though for you.
An ecosystem, I like that.
Use that one.
Yeah, thanks. But you should be in marketing.
You've got a little bit of everybody there, and it's the trouble with a networking event is it feels forced.
Oh, completely.
And
they're useless.
Yeah,
the same people in the same room talking the same things. And asking people, who's your ideal client? What referral can you have? Absolute waste of time, in my opinion. Might be very short-lived. If you've lived under a rock for a year and don't know a person, yes, of course. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I think 9 out of 10 of them are useless. Yeah. But there we go. What was I going to say? Yeah, the events definitely are something like that. And next year, 4 more planned, as we will. But we're doing now, Christ, we've signed up clients-wise 4 to do for other people. One's this year. So what? Yeah,
you plan their events for?
Yeah, we're doing the events for them. So now that everyone's seen that, and this is what's happening a lot with the feed. Can I have that, please? I like what you're doing. The amount of people that have gone, we like seeing what you're doing for your business. Can you replicate that in this sector, that sector, and the other? Where you say is the feed mag a lead gen, all 4 of which are a lead gen. Yeah. People are coming to the events and going, can you do mine? People are coming on the pod and saying, can I be in the magazine? People are going in the magazine and asking to work with the agency, and people are working for the agency and wanting to be in all 3.
Yep.
So it is all coexistent, ecosystem, whatever we want to call it, but that forms the group.
Yep.
I was really, had that imposter syndrome and self-doubt early on, calling it the feed group. But all the while, that was the vision. Yep. It was these 4 things will come through if I just keep saying it and keep writing it down and keep saying I'm going to do it, they'll come. And over the course of this year, we've done the pod, as we know, and the events have been the last 2. The mag is 2 years old now, and the agency's 5. We're in a great spot. Then we're going to anchor those in, and like I say, go 10 miles deep. Let's do that for everybody and do it really, really well.
And I think the magazine sounds hard to me. I think it kind of feels an old-fashioned way of advertising. Which must be quite a hard sell.
Yeah.
But at the same time, especially when it's a local thing and it's about, maybe that's more for businesses like mine, but local retailers, it's really important for them, you know, because it's a prompt. You know, you live in a little town, you don't even know that shop's there. And
that's happened so much that people that have been in the magazine and someone's picked it up and read about it, I didn't know that. We're calling it cross-channel. So it's social media in print, effectively. We're writing in a different way. We're not regurgitating news stories about some graffiti on a bridge or the mayor opening a flower bed, albeit there's a place for that. And there's the outlets that can do the news side of things. We're not that. We're a lifestyle magazine that touches on businesses, of course, but anything and everything. And is it interesting? And does it sound cool? Does it look like something we want to talk about? Then let's chuck you in, and we'll come and be part of it. We'll help you with socials. We'll get the pictures going. We'll put it across our socials. It's then cross-channel. We're not just saying, here's a magazine, hopefully that goes well. We don't know. We're behind it. We're driving it with our platform, albeit as small as it is locally. It feels quite good and growing. But yeah, you're quite right in how you say it does feel slightly old-fashioned.
Yeah.
But when you pick ours up and get the feel of it, as you know,
Yeah.
it's like, God, that feels like that's not a roll up and stick in your back pocket.
No, it's really nice.
Or
It's,
throw away.
yeah.
That's they cost nearly a quid a copy. So at 5,000, obviously, do the maths.
Totally,
And it just about washes its face. But that's why I see the bigger picture for it. I can see the 5,000. There'll be people here now going, I've still never seen one. The amount of people go, I've never seen that, and that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Because I print 5,000 of the effing things and have to deliver them around everywhere. Me and my dad and all my wife, everybody's out delivering them, and they go everywhere, and I see them all. The green room here at the office flies through them. I don't know whether someone's chucking them in the bin.
That's the feel though.
Yeah.
When you pick it,
You take it home.
You take it home and go, I'll have a flick through that later.
Exactly.
As opposed to when something's really flimsy.
Yeah. And that's where some of
these.
these other things I pick up, and I'm like, what is this? And that's where our design from Steph, the front covers by Sam, the way we write. There's loads and loads of investment and time goes. When you say it's hard, it is.
Yeah.
And it's labour intensive.
And deadline.
But the deadline,
yeah.
oh my word.
Yeah.
But then getting there and getting it out, it's amazing. The feeling's amazing. But then as soon as you've done it, like right now in August, we're selling 8.0 because we've got to get it done. Because in August, it needs to be finished. September, we'll tweak and what have you. It needs to be out by October.
I think as well now, in a creative agency, so much of the stuff must be digital.
Yeah.
Right? So to actually produce something and feel it and hold it,
when we send it on that day, usually a Friday, it is like, oh my word, there we go. Right, let's wait for them to arrive. Brilliant. Let's try and wrap up with a couple of quick ones. We've touched on it I keep saying touched on, but we've talked about it quite a bit. And we talked about golf and what have you. But what's a bit of a bugbear at the moment? What's a pet peeve? Whether that might be in business, is it staffing? Is it I don't know. Where are we in terms of something that's a pain point for you?
For the business?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In general, no. Chuck something out there about your life and your wife or the kids if you want.
Oh God, no, I won't dare about my wife. All recorded, isn't it? Well, that's what you mentioned in your text to me about the things we might talk about is sort of pet hates.
Yeah.
And I've got one real, but it's not business related.
Go on.
It is people that hold private conversations on speaker on their phone
right,
in a public, like on a train.
Talking into the phone's become the new one, hasn't it? Yeah.
And
I must admit, I love a voice note. I don't know if I've done them to you.
I think I'm too old for
But
voice
I
notes.
fly through voice notes, I must admit. So then you're listening like this, and but public conversations.
Private conversations in
a
public.
Yeah.
I don't get that. Yeah. And like on the train, there's 12 people around.
I don't know how anyone talks on the train anyway. I don't know how anyone does any work
Yep.
or talks because the wife. I don't know why what this country's problem is with not having signal or 4G or 5G or whatever it is. But I bet I lose signal every single day when I'm talking to someone. Every day.
Yeah.
So I think my bugbear is signal. Why? How can we be in this day and age trying to work on a train and have Wi-Fi?
It's pointless.
Impossible.
It is absolutely. I used to justify
300 quid for a ticket to London, but you can't do any work going
Yeah.
there. So you just got to sit there, basically.
Absolutely,
Yeah, there's no such thing as the commute anymore. I think we're wrapping that up, and
Yep.
do you know what? It's absolutely flown.
Yep,
But just to
good.
finish on, core fulfillment. Then 12 years in, the next year is really exciting. But to sort of be strong in what we're doing currently with our level of service, that cut-off period of 10 o'clock, still get it the next day, is that kind of standout piece.
Yep.
If you were going to look at a sector and maybe get a new client, where would that be? Anything?
I think fashion.
Yeah.
We're really strong in fashion. We do a really good job for that. But I also think, sort of nutritional health and well-being, but non-pharma.
Right. Okay.
I think there's a real awareness now of the goodness that you can get from nature and quality products as opposed to. So I suppose maybe supplements, but not pharmaceutical.
Yeah,
supplements.
yeah.
I think that's a really strong growing sector. I think.
There we go. There's our call then. There's our call to action. If you are one of those brands, talk to CORE Fulfilment in Crewe. Paul Burns, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers.